Welcome to ProgrammingKT. I am explaining about the concept is optional class. Optional class was introduced in Java 8 to avoid null pointer exception. I will explain with some examples how to handle null pointer exception by using optional class. So let me start with first point. What is optional class? Optional class is a generic type of final class. So it can hold any type of object. Moreover that if a class is final, it won't participate in inheritance, right? So that's why optional class also won't participate in inheritance. Second point will be the what are the methods present inside in optional class. Approximately we have 10 to 15 methods are there. I will explain when I am writing examples. Next, third one will be the how to create object for optional class. We can create object for optional class in three ways by using three static methods. So before that, let me show you the documentation about optional class. So optional class is a generic type of final class. It can hold any type of object. We can wrap our custom object with optional class object. So moreover that optional class object is a container object which may or may not contain non-null value. Try to understand these words. So this is the scenes behind in optional class to avoid null pointer exception. So if a object contains non-null value, there is no chance of getting null pointer exception, right? So that's why you can avoid null pointer exception. Moreover that if the value is present inside that container object, once we apply isPresent method, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So let me try to write some examples. Before that I will show you how to how to create object for optional class. So first approach will be the by using empty static method. Like empty, I am trying to create object for optional class by using static method, empty static method. So how we can access static method by using class name, right? That's why optional dot empty. So I am trying to assign. So when I am trying to print that empty result, it will print like optional dot empty. Well, because there is no value present inside that container object, right? We try to run. So optional dot empty. This is the first approach for creating object for optional class. Second one will be the by using of static method. So I am trying to create optional dot of. This one also static method. That's why I am trying to access by using class name. So I am trying to pass simple string value. Now I am trying to assign. Once we print that of value, so it will print like optional of foo, whatever passed. I am passing some value, right, to that of method. Now let me try to run. So optional is a container object that holds our custom object. Here I am trying to pass string, right? It holds string value. So how we can access this value? By using get method, like of get. So I got the value. So this is the second approach to create object for optional class. So moreover that one point you need to remember when you are trying to use of. So we need to pass non-null value to of method, otherwise we will get null pointer exception. So let me try to show you here. And wantedly I am trying to pass null value. Now if I can run this, so I am getting null pointer exception at line number 17. Why? Because I will show you the documentation. So optional of method, once we provide null value, here it is expecting requires non-null value, so otherwise we will get null pointer exception. So that's why we need to aware of before passing any value to of method, that must be non-null. So this is the second approach. Next, third approach will be the by using of nullable static method, like of nullable. This one also static method, that's why you can access by using class name of nullable. Here I can pass some value. Here I'm trying to pass integer value. Next I am trying to print the result of nullable. Sys out Now let me try to run. So previous one will be the op method is returning for value. Anyway, I am applying get method, right? Last one, optional op contains container object contains value, whatever you can pass, right? Here I am trying to pass integer. It can holds integer of 4. So this method we can pass null value also. That is, it won't provide any, it won't throw any null pointer exception. So let me try to run. So here I am getting empty, right? So I will show you implementation of op nullable, then you can understand more. So if given, provided value will be null, it will return empty. Otherwise it will return optional of value. So that's why here I am providing wantedly null value, right? That's why the condition becomes true. It will return empty, optional of empty. Otherwise it will return optional of corresponding value. So this is the difference between op and op nullable. Moreover that these are the three ways to create object for optional class. Now let me try to build one simple example. So I am trying to build the logic like I will pass one input string. I am trying to find length of that given input string. So here I am providing string value like my channel name. I am trying to create one method called find length. So this method is expecting string. I am trying to pass string value like str. I am trying to create that method. So from this method I am trying to return length of that given input string. So let me run with positive scenario, then I will handle null pointer exception. Then same logic I will write with optional class. Then I will compare the difference. With optional and without optional. So here I am trying to build the logic like find length of given input string. So I am trying to print that length of the given input string. Now let me try to run. So length will be the 13, for given input string. So if I can pass wantedly null value, immediately I will get null pointer exception. So I need to handle this null pointer exception. So before applying length method, like how we can handle, we need to provide one condition like null check, right? Not null, then only apply length method to that given input string. Else I am trying to return some default value. Now let me try to run. So now I handled the null pointer exception. Instead of if the given input string is null, I am trying to return default value, that is 0. So same logic I will implement by using optional class. So try to create one more method, find length with optional. So same string I am trying to pass. Here also I am trying to return length of that given input string. So we are getting null pointer exception when we are trying to length, right? So if the given input string is null, then only we are getting null pointer exception. So this is the case we need to handle. So for that, what I am trying to do, I am wrapping my given input object with optional class object. So if I can wrap that optional of nullable given input string, so then I am trying to apply map method. One of the method present inside optional class. It is expecting function predefined functional interface. If you don't know what is function, how it will work, I already make an video. Please watch that video, then you can understand more. So here I am trying to apply method reference to find the length of the given input string, or else if the given input string is null, I am trying to provide default value by using or else method. Or else also one of the method present inside that optional class. So here I am wrapping our provided value, string object with optional of nullable method. So if it is not null, then only this map method will be executed, otherwise immediately it will execute or else. So now let me try to print this result as well. Length with optional. So I got the same output, right? Default value from both methods. Let me try to run with positive scenario. So I got the 13 from with optional, 13 from without optional. So if we can see the difference, which one is less lines of code, obviously with optional only, right? So moreover that the code will be more clean comparing with this method, without optional. So this is the logic behind the scenes, how to handle null pointer exception. So let me try to write one more example, then you can understand more. Next, I am trying to implement the example like find user by email. So I will provide one dummy mail, then I will return some user object from that method. I will create one method. So wantedly I will raise null pointer exception. Then I will handle that null pointer exception with optional class and without optional class. Then we can observe the difference. So first I already created one user DTO object here with the 3 attributes. So next I am trying to create one find by email method. Find by email. So I am trying to pass one mail ID. So create that method. From this method I am trying to return user object. So here the parameter I need to pass email. So once email is received from function calling, method calling, I need to make some db call here. Anyway, I did not connect it to database, right? So I will return some default hard coded value user object. Manually I will create one user object, then I will return it. New user of first name, last name and email id. First name, last name, email id. Now here I am trying to receive that user object. Once I make the call, I will receive some user object, right? So what I am trying to do, build the logic like just I am trying to print first name of that user dot first name. So I got the first name. So what if the user object does not exist? In that case we will get null, right? This is always not recommended. Why? Because here I did not, definitely I will get null pointer exception here. So returning the user object directly, it is not good programming practice. That's why optional class was introduced. Let me try to raise null pointer exception. So if the user does not exist with that mail ID, definitely we will get null, right? So I am trying to return null. So for that null value I am trying to apply first name. Definitely I will get null pointer exception. Yeah, got it, right? So first I need to handle null pointer exception here. How I can handle? First I will check by email user object not null, then only I need to apply first name. Now let me try to run. Now null pointer exception got handled. So how we can handle this? By using optional class, I will explain. So let me create one more method here. Find by email with optional. So I need to create this method. From this method I will return, I will wrap user object with optional object, then I will return it instead of returning directly user object. So for that first I need to create, method return type will be optional of user. So inside this I am trying to build the logic like, so copy this code, then I will wrap that user object with optional object, optional class object. So instead of returning user object directly, I will wrap that user object with optional of nullable, So I will pass user object. So if the user object is null, it will return empty. Already explained here, right? So of nullable method will work like, we can observe implementation. The provided value is null, it will return empty, otherwise it will return optional of provided object. So here find by email with optional, right? Now I need to print first name logic, like first I am trying to assign. How I can access first name? First I need to apply get method, then only I need to access first name. So to get the value from object from container object, first I need to apply get method. So optional find email with optional dot get dot first name. So here I will get no such element exception. Why? Because if the value is not present, if the container object is empty, I am trying to pass, trying to apply get method, right? In that case, I will get no such element present exception. So no such element exception. No value present. This is the exception. First you need to check that value exists or not. Then only apply get method. So I need to handle the condition like if optional dot is present, then only get that object, then access first name. Now if I will run, I did not get any no such element exception. So let me run with positive scenario. Now I got the value first name. So if you can observe here, both are same. Anyway here I am trying to check, handling null check, then I am trying to print. Here also first I am checking is present, then I am trying to get the first name. If you can observe, both are same, there is a difference. So this is called reactive approach. Means once you realize that null pointer exception, so then you are handling. But this is proactive approach, means you are writing bug free code. In future you will never get null pointer exception. You learned something new from optional class from this video. Hit on like button and subscribe ProgrammingKT. Still some methods are pending from optional class. I will cover it in next video. So thanks for watching.